What's going on, fight fans? It's your host Sebastian, and welcome back to the Boxing Tip. Now, I don't know if I'm just in a bad mood today or what, or maybe just the boxing news that's going around lately is kind of shitty, or maybe I'm just taking it the wrong way. I have no idea, but I seen this, and I seen it a while ago, and then I seen it again today, and every time I see it, it effectively pisses me off the same exact way every time I see it. And that's the news of Andre Ward kind of hinting at retirement after the Sergey Kovalev fight. Now, I didn't want to have to make a video about Andre Ward. Honestly, I've been trying to avoid completely making a video about Andre Ward. The reason why is because me making a video about Andre Ward is kind of conflicting. And the reason why I say that is because you guys know how I feel about Andre Ward. Alright, I'm not a fan of Andre Ward. I don't hate the guy, or I don't have any emotional like bias toward. I'm not a big fan of him as a boxer. You know what I'm saying? Or I just don't really care for the guy all that much. Period. So I just tend to avoid talking about him. But I keep seeing this shit, and it's starting to really annoy me because the 175-pound division is one of my favorite divisions in boxing today. Alright, too many good fighters there. Vazdik, Stevenson, Kovalev, Beterbiev, Sullivan Barrera now, even Shabransky, fuck, might as well throw him in the mix too. And that's just to name a few. And then you got Andre Ward, right? Newcomer to the 175-pound division. And then he has the fight with Kovalev. Now, the boxing community is very divided on how they seen that fight play out. I don't know if some of the people's reaction to the fight are, maybe like passionate or passion driven or emotionally driven or race driven or whatever kind of bullshit drives that people have that make people maybe think illogically or whatever the reason may be. I mean, and that's not just the Andre Ward fans. That could be like the Kovalev fans or whoever you want to, whatever side you are on. You know what I'm saying? So, the way I seen the fight, okay, I was being fucking generous, and I'm talking like Christmas generous. I gave Ward 5 rounds out of the fight. Now, if I watch the fight again, I'm sure I'll give him less, but I gave him 5 rounds. Alright? The fight, in my opinion, started off good, and then it sucked ass later on. Alright? And then I will openly admit that I'm going to go ahead and just kind of throw that on Andre Ward's side. Alright? The jab and clinch and the fucking takedown attempts, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit, I don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know he's a good boxer. I just don't like the way he chooses to approach fights when he fights them. You know what I'm saying? It's not to take away from anything that he can do in the ring. I mean, he does do some things well. He has a good jab, and, we did a couple of tricky little shits in the Kovalev fight, and, I give him credit for that. I give him credit for taking that fucking hellacious right hand and then getting up and finishing out the fight, but I'm sure there's other factors that people aren't 100% about, that goes into the fight and how it played out the way it did. But even if you were just talking about the judges' scorecard, you barely won the fucking fight. You won the fight by 1 point on all 3 judges' scorecards. Now, I personally think the judges were on some bullshit. I don't see how the fuck he won 7 rounds, 8 rounds, 7 rounds in a row when, I just don't see that. I don't see that, especially with it being a close fight, or a closer fight than what it was in the beginning. I still don't see justifying giving Ward 7 fucking rounds in a row, especially the 10th round. And there's like so many fucking, I'm pretty sure there's so many film studies out there that'll show you that 10th round in its entirety, fucking 100 times slow motion, frame by frame shit, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is alright, my scorecard isn't official, so it's not really relevant, but I'm just explaining to you guys that yes, I seen Kovalev win the fight. That's probably no surprise to some of you guys. And before I get shitted on by all the Andre Ward fans, dude, that's just my opinion. If you don't like the way I scored the fucking card, or scored the fight, then I don't really care, alright? Because it doesn't matter what I scored it. He got the win anyway, right? So I guess you guys are happy about that shit. If you guys are happy in the fashion and, you know, with the fashion of how he won the fight, good for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, but good for you. I honestly expected a little bit more from Andre Ward, but then again, I kind of didn't because I've watched previous fights of his, and honestly, probably the best fight that he has, in my opinion, is the fucking Alexander Brand fight, because that was like the one fucking fight in his entire, you know, not in his entire career, but as of the last 5 years that he probably fought the cleanest in, maybe because he didn't need to. But nevertheless, I don't want to get on Andre Ward's shit. I want to talk about him hinting at retirement, throwing these little remarks out there. I've done everything I can, and yada yada yada. First of all, he barely won the Kovalev fight. All right, if a 1 point win on all three judges' scorecards isn't enough to convince you that you need to rematch this dude, then I don't know what is. Then go ahead and retire, dude. Get the fuck out of there. Get out of here, because if you really think that your biggest accomplishment was a very controversial fight that you won by 1 fucking point, then maybe boxing, or at least the light heavyweight division, doesn't need you to be there. If you want to retire because you felt you've done enough in your career that it's good, you know, it's a good time to retire. First of all, you're not fucking Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao's age, alright? Those motherfuckers kept fighting until they were almost 40 years old. Pacquiao's still fighting today and fighting top 10 welterweights today and beating them. And yeah, maybe he's on his way out for sure. Floyd already retired. He made his money and he did what he needed to do, and he got the fuck out the game, alright? And one thing I can give credit to Floyd for is that anytime he did have a close fight, he fucking rematched. Next fight, no retirement bullshit. Rematch that motherfucker. He rematched Jose Luis Castillo, and he rematched Marcos Maidana. All right, 2 fights that started off close, and then Floyd came back to be the clear winner of both those fights. Now, not trying to compare Andre Ward to Floyd here or anything. To me, they fight complete. I think Floyd Mayweather is the much better. As the better boxer, has the better skill set, does things better in the ring. If you guys want to disagree with me on that one, that's cool. You guys, everybody has their own opinion, so I'm not going to hate you for it or anything like that, or I ain't going to shit talk you for it. But you win a fight by 1 fucking point, even if it was just one judge's scorecard. You've won the fight by 1 point. 1 point. Literally, I mean, in my opinion, undeservingly walked out of that ring with 3 of this man's belts, with 3 of his belts. And now you hold 3 of the world major titles at 175 pounds, and the first thing you fucking do is talk about retirement. Now, what does that say about Andre Ward? Or what does that say about the Kovalev fight, alright? And I'm going to just kind of tell you what I'm thinking. Alright, personally, I don't think he thought he won that night, okay? And even still looking back on it, I still don't think he could win. Because if I was in that fucking ring with Sergey Kovalev, and I walked out of there with that performance, personally, I don't think I would have won either. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever. If Andre Ward doesn't want to rematch Kovalev to get out of a rematch clause, or if he wants to retire to get out of a rematch clause, because we all know Andre Ward has no problems with not honoring contracts. He's done it in the past, and I'm pretty sure he'll do it again. Or he'll just retire. I'm sure he made like $5 million off the Kovalev fight. I mean, depending on your lifestyle, man. If you're a SOG humble Ward, your lifestyle probably doesn't require much. You could probably get away with retiring on $5 million. You better move your ass out of California, though. That's all I gotta say. Or, you know, come live in the boonies and, you know, fucking middle of the country, United States and shit, and maybe you get away with retiring with a fucking $5 million. But if the first thing you do after winning such a close fight is talking about a retirement, I don't know what it's supposed to tell your fans, dude. Like, what is it supposed to tell your fans? What are you trying to explain? What are you trying to tell them? You've done enough in the sport. You won the Super 6 and then went off on like a 5-year hiatus, having like 3 fights in 5 years or some shit like that. I don't know the specifics. I didn't really have a chance to say it. it just makes me upset as a boxing fan, because I want to see this fight happen again. Not because I want to see Kovalev beat the brakes off that motherfucker. Nah, it ain't even just that. It's just, I just want to know if Andre Ward, I want to see it again, because if Andre Ward could beat Kovalev in a rematch, then I will fucking take this video down. I'll never mention another thing about Andre Ward ever again. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that doesn't mean much on like a worldly perspective, or even the YTBC perspective, you know what I'm saying, or like just the boxing community as a whole. I'm not that big of a channel to where I have that much leverage to convince so much fucking fans that yada yada yada. I wouldn't do that anyway, even if I was one of the bigger channels on YouTube. But my point being is that why? It's not even the point. It's just a question of why. Why would you even talk about retiring after having such a close matchup? Dude, you barely won. Even your boxing fans admit that it was a close fight. Even some of the dudes who are 100% convinced that you won will still say that it was a close fight, and will probably admit that you guys should rematch, just to solidify your first win. You know what I'm saying? Even though in probably the majority of the boxing fan base as a whole, even, you know, the writers, the pressers, and even some of the fucking bigwigs, I'm pretty sure they didn't see you winning the fight. The majority of everyone in the boxing community as a whole probably didn't see Andre Ward winning the fight. Okay? At least not in my eyes, or from what I've seen. Okay? Because anytime this fight gets brought up, the word controversy gets brought up. And when the word controversy gets brought up, that pretty much means that the boxing community as a whole is divided on whether or not who win. Now, these are like the fucking perfect grounds for a rematch. Alright? And then there was some other shit like, oh, if I fight Kovalev again, I want more money. Dude, if you're trying to double down because you know that there is, like, I want to say in my opinion, that you probably have like a 75% chance of losing the rematch, possibly. If you're trying to double down just to kind of, secure your future outside of the sport, whatever, man. I totally understand. I get that part. But don't stick around in the sport and hang on to three of the four major world titles at the 175-pound division if you don't fucking plan on defending them. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're a unified 175-pound fighter and we see you fight another Alexander Brand, I will lose my shit. I will lose my shit. I'll probably I just pray that no one even attempts to fight Ward. Fuck it. Let his time run out and then retire if he wants to. And then just let the belts go back into play. I don't give a shit. I mean, personally, I like the idea of there being world titles at each weight division, because it kind of gives every boxer something to aim for. But a world title isn't going to tell me how good of a boxer that you really are. Okay? The one thing that'll tell me that you're a good boxer, and that's all it boils down to. If you're a piece of shit, dude, outside of the ring, I could care less, man. I don't give a fuck. I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't grow up with you. I don't talk to you. But I do watch you inside of the ring. So if you are good inside of the ring, you got the skills, you know what I'm saying? You got the talent, you got the tools, you got the skills, you got everything it takes to be the top of your weight division, or even a pound for pound, quotation marks, pound for pound, quotation marks. I don't have such a big opinion on the pound for pound thing either. That's a lot of boxers, it's a lot of fucking boxers. For me to ever really, if I had a pound for pound, I'm sure I could make a top 10, but it wouldn't really mean anything, because I'm sure somewhere down the line, or even in recent times of me making, or even in similar times of me making a pound for pound list, I'm sure I'm going to discover somebody else that I feel needs to be up there. Ergo, I will drop somebody off my top 10. That's why I don't give a shit about the top 10, because it's just so tedious, you know what I'm saying? It's so easy to see another boxer who fights better than one of the guys on your top 10 pound for pound list. So I'm not a big fan of the pound for pound thing. But aside from the pound for pound thing, I do like the idea of the belts, but it doesn't really say much to me, it's not saying a whole bunch about what you can do in the ring. Me, I don't judge, but I look at boxers in high regard depending on what they can do in the ring. Even if they haven't had a chance to let their careers manifest into something big and they were still in the early stages of their career, if I see that they do things well inside of the ring, then I'm a fan. You just made me a fan immediately. I don't give a fuck who you are, what your motives are, the kind of life you decide to live when you're outside of the ring, whether you cheat on or beat your fucking girlfriend, or, you know what I'm saying, whether you take drugs or do whatever that shit, man. If you got what it is, if you got that it factor inside of the ring, then you made me a supporter. You know what I'm saying? But this shit right here is that Andre Ward is doing things outside of the ring that are bugging me. Okay, because in the ring I have a problem with Andre Ward in most of his fights actually. I don't like the dirty tactics. You know, if you want to call them veteran tactics or yada yada yada, that motherfucker breaks the rules. Okay, and I'm not saying that that all fighters are perfect inside of the ring, but I've never seen someone have a game plan literally revolving around breaking the rules. You understand what I'm saying? It's nothing against, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Ward's probably the dirtiest fighter to ever live. I mean, we had the fucking Panama Lewis situation and him feeding those fucking mixed drinks to like Aaron Pryor or whoever he was training at the time, and ended up busting dude's eyes so bad that he went blind and then committed suicide. So obviously I have a problem with, I have a problem with dirty boxing, but other than like drug testing and shit like that, which I still have an issue with, but I just don't know enough about it to really make too many statements about it. And I've admitted this in like my Alexander Povetkin videos. Shit, I even referred you guys to a different fucking channel to get more information. I just wanted to put it out there. But aside from the drug testing aspect, the next worst thing, or even, maybe the next worst thing to you being a dirty or a substance abuser or a substance abusive fighter, the next worst thing you could do in the ring is be a dirty tactics fighter. Alright? If you're elbowing intentionally, like Andre Ward was doing in Sakio Bika fight, and I understand that Sakio Bika is another fucking dirty fucking fighter, you know what I'm saying? But if you're deliberately throwing elbows, man, like, and the fucking in the instant replay catches that shit, and there's no denying, dude, you don't fucking hook your arm back into your chest and then still lead with your elbow and want to call that accidental. Hell no. Alright, the Mikhail Kessler fight, headbutts like a motherfucker. Even the fucking Sergey Kovalev fight, dude, go watch those slow motion fucking studies of all the fouls he committed in that fight. Low blows, headbutts, grabbing behind the fucking knee when he's charging forward and shit, dude. Like, this ain't football, you know what I mean? But look, I already know I'm already pissing some of you guys off, man, and I'm sorry if I am. I really do, man. As a boxing fan to other boxing fans, we have something in common, alright? So there is a neutral ground here. We all love the sport of boxing, right? We can agree to that one. Okay, so I have no personal quarrel with any of the Andre Ward fans, man. I have friends who are Andre Ward fans, alright? We get into our little debates and shit sometimes, but hey, that's boxing, alright? We got something to talk about. Sometimes they don't like what I have to say, but a majority of the times, if we really have to, I'll pull my phone out, get on YouTube, show them some shit, and they'll be like, you know what, you're right, but I still am a fan of the guy. Hey, if you're a fan of the guy and you're a fan of what he does, that's cool, man. I don't care. But what I have a problem with even more than what he's doing inside of the ring is he's basically, how do I explain this? He's basically putting the 175-pound division at a standstill when it comes to the belts, okay? Adonis Stevenson, Kovalev had 3 of those belts. Adonis Stevenson did not want shit to do with Kovalev. Not a fucking thing to do with Kovalev. Alright, and if you would mention a couple of things, it was, we might get the fight happen, yada yada, but nothing ever really came to be. We saw where Adonis's Steven, time sorted out his fucking intentions. He had no intention of fighting Kovalev, alright, for those 3 belts, to unify all 4 belts, right? But the moment that motherfucking decision in the Kovalev Ward fight comes out, what does Adonis Stevenson do? He calls out Andre Ward, unify those titles. He's like, fuck it, I probably have a better, maybe not a better chance, but he's like, fuck it. I know that Andre Ward probably didn't win, but man, if I can get 3 of those belts off of a easier match or a less dangerous matchup as it would have been for Kovalev, then fuck it, why not take that chance, right? Well, that's cool. But if Adonis Stevenson holds 4 titles and plans to do nothing with them, or give Archer Beterbiev or Alexander Gvozdyk or even fucking Sullivan Barrera, because he's starting to make his little statement at 175 pounds. If you're going to have the titles and not do shit with them, then why do you have them? Me personally, I could give a fuck less if Andre Ward fights any of those dudes. I mean, the only one I want to see is the rematch. After the rematch, I don't give a shit about what Andre Ward does. I don't want to see him fight Gvozdyk. I don't want to see him fight Beterbiev. I don't want to see him fight Stevenson, because I could care less if those guys can beat him or not. I just don't really want anything to do with Andre Ward at all. Alright? Because I didn't like his career. I'm not a big fan of the way he boxes. I don't really care about his personal life. I mean, whatever he decides to do outside of the ring, like I said, it's pretty much irrelevant to me as a boxing fan. Alright? Because I like boxers. I like boxers when they're in the ring or when they're doing some boxing shit. I don't give a fuck what they're doing at home or what the fuck they're talking about at home. It really does not matter to me. Alright, so it's not that I don't hate the guy, you know what I'm saying? As a person, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a very humble dude outside of the ring, or I'm sure he's a very, pleasant person to be around or to know. I'm sure he has friends, you know what I'm saying, who can attest to that. But as a boxing fan, I don't care to know who Andre Ward is outside the ring. All I know is that if you're talking about retirement, when you hold 3 of those fucking belts, either give Kovalev the rematch because you won by 1 point and most of your fan base can attest to you barely winning and that you should rematch, then you should rematch. But if you're not going to, quit wasting everybody's fucking time. Retire. It'd just make the 175-pound division that much more ongoing. The momentum is back. The moment he won those belts by controversy off of Kovalev, the 175-pound division at the top of it basically came to a fucking standstill. And that's what I don't really care about the belts. If Beterbiev and Kovalev end up fighting next, dude, I would much rather pay to see that one than see the rematch, or than to see Andre Ward unify 4 titles with Adonis Stevenson. I really would rather see that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It annoys me. At the same time, it's whatever. If you want to retire, dude, I have no problem with that, because like I said, when you retire, at least now I can look forward to some other shit. Maybe you vacate off 3 titles and they go back into play. Now we get to see some fucking good fights, possibly, because you just released all your titles. Matter of fact, I could even probably go far as saying that if you retire, that is a good thing for the 175-pound division. Or if you leave the weight class, it doesn't matter. Go back down to 168. There's plenty of fights fucking down there for you. You know what I mean? Or stay at 175. But if you're gonna be there, then make something happen. Why are you talking about retirement? I don't get that. You're gonna take 3. I'm not gonna say steal or take, but you win 3 belts off of basically the lineal champion of fucking the 175-pound division, and then you want to talk about retirement. All right, you got your money, dude. If you want to double down on the rematch and try to maybe you're not too confident going in, maybe you didn't think Kovalev was as good as you thought he was or something. I'm not too sure what your motives are, but if you want to double down, that's cool. At least make the fucking rematch happen sometime soon. I don't want to wait until October or fucking November again to see you and Kovalev fight, or you get 4 tune-up fights before you fight him again. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit about that. I just want to see you guys do it, but do it soon. Before that rematch just kind of starts, the entertainment portion of it, or the excitement for it just starts to dwindle away. Make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Do I think you deserve double the money that you made from the first fight? I don't know if that's the exact amount he wants or whatever, but if you want to make more money than you did from the first fight, then that's cool. Whatever. You made more than he did in the first fight anyway. Like $3 million more than he made, and he was the unified champion of 175 pounds. So, alright, well, I guess, Kovalev probably needed to fight you more than you needed to fight him, I guess. I don't really know. maybe no one else was. I don't know. I'm not gonna speculate like too much and start throwing out like crazy theories of why some fights didn't happen or whatever. But all I can say is that when it comes down to it, me as a boxing fan, I just want to see the rematch and then let it be done with. No, I don't even give a fuck if there's a trilogy. Fuck a trilogy. You know, if Kovalev wins the next one, I don't want to see another one because I already thought he won the first one. So I will lose my interest after the second fight, right? My interest for Andre Ward and Kovalev will be completely diminished. All right, even if Andre Ward won the rematch, my interest is gone. All right, I don't need to see a trilogy. I need to see either you retire, you rematch, or you unify with Adonis Stevenson. But if you're gonna do that, do it soon. Or if not, you're gonna hopefully you give one of the other top 175 pounders a title shot. Fight Beterbiev. Fight him. If you ask me, that's probably a more dangerous fight than the Kovalev fight. But fuck it, you probably make a ton of money, or you probably make good money off that fight. Beterbiev's starting to make a name for himself. Fight Sullivan Barrera again. I think you beat him again, but fight him again if you have to. You know, he got the win over Shabransky. I think it is only fitting that he gets mentioned up in the top portions of the 175-pound division. I don't know, but like I said, I could probably already see a bunch of the Andre Ward fans getting pissed off and probably gonna talk some shit, yada, or whatever the fuck they might say, or that I'm a hater or whatever. I'm not a hater. I just don't really care for the motherfucker, honestly. I don't care for him as a boxer. I mean, I don't really care for him I don't really care about him at all. I just don't want to see one weight division get held up so badly because of a guy who wants to sit here and fucking play games and talk about retirement and then talk about I want more money in the rematch and talk about yada yada yada. Dude, just make some shit happen. You're gonna get paid. You know what I'm saying? If you're the humble SOG son of God fucking person that we all think you are, man, another couple mil in your pocket should be good for you, man, if you're that humble of a guy. But if you like flashy shit, man, I mean that's kind of contradicting, but it's easier for a fucking camel to go through the eye of the needle than a rich man to get into paradise. Nah, I'm talking shit, man. Now I'm starting to get kind of out of control. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this, man. I'm just talking shit here. I'm ranting. If you're mad at me, I'm sorry. I'll apologize to you. Subscribe to the channel and all that other shit. But I'm done making videos for today. I'm not really in a good mood. But one thing that I always need to mention is introduce somebody to boxing, guys. We can never have enough fans in the sport. But I'd probably keep them away from the 175-pound division just for a little while. But other than that, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Sebastian from the Boxing Tip signing out. Peace.